Good morning and thank you for flying Air International flight number 103.1 FM, where you're sure to fly first class every time you fly. This semester, our focus, Transformative Peace Modalities, and we'll be discussing Transformative Peace Modalities based on John Paul Lederach's idea of peace transformation. Today we have with us Chief of Police Paul Lester, and he'll be talking with us about how UNCG uses transformative peace modalities in working with the UNCG campus. Hi, Paul. Thank you for coming.
Hi, April. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today.
I'd like to read a definition of conflict transformation based on Paul Lederach. He says conflict resolution implies that conflict is bad, hence something that should be ended. It also assumes that conflict is a short-term phenomenon that can be resolved permanently through mediation or other interventions. Conflict management correctly assumes that conflicts are long-term processes that can often will not or cannot be quickly resolved. In addition, the notion of management suggests that the goal is the reduction or control of validity more than dealing with the real source of the problem. So, in what ways do you believe that UNCG police are altering communication patterns with the people on UNCG campus?
Well, I think one of the things that we've done is we recognize that maybe our relationship with the community needed some improvement. And so using 21st century policing model that was put out by the White House, President Obama shared that with us. We've attempted to implement many of those recommendations and initiatives that were in that report. And we have made significant progress in building relationships with students, staff, and faculty. And I think that we're sort of changing the perception of what the police do and what the police are here at UNCG.
And can you tell us a little bit about the different procedures that President Obama put in place to help as a transformative modality in peace?
Yeah, they created the pillars, the 6 pillars that are in the 21st century policing, basically focus on having a relationship with the community before you go out and try and enforce the law. I think that being part of the community and not being an occupying force within the community is a big part of that. Building these relationships and sort of identifying with the people that you serve and letting them know that you're offering more than just an enforcement action, that you actually have services and resources and support that go beyond that.
And looking at the 4 basic steps in inventing options for problem, do you have anything in mind looking at step 1, the problem, step 2, the analysis, step 3, the approaches, and step 4, the action ideas? Do you have anything that comes to mind when looking at these 4 basic steps in inventing options in transforming peace?
Sure. The new training that we're doing is fair and impartial policing. Fair and impartial policing is definitely a big part of the 21st century policing initiative. And it looks at identifying ways in which law enforcement can sort of adjust their approach. I think that I've watched so many body-worn cameras and dash cameras where we actually see where these issues arise and at what point the opportunities present themselves for the officers to maybe take a different approach. And when you do the analysis of those issues and you start seeing, is there a way in which the police can operate differently that may create opportunities for a different outcome?
Also, a lot of times when we look at police, in the past, our thoughts have been on law and order, containment and control. And sometimes we need these things in order to keep peace in a situation. But can you tell us how you're using law and order, containment and control, along with some of these new ideas that you've been putting into place?
Yes, the law and order is definitely a part of it. I mean, if you are the victim of a violent crime, you're going to appreciate the law and order aspects of what the general statutes of North Carolina have to offer. But from a policing perspective, there's more to it. It's more about helping and assisting and supporting and doing things that are going to be there for those who are the victims of crime. It's not about constraining or controlling unless you are violating the law and victimizing other people. I think sometimes that the police do not do a very good job explaining that their intentions should be and should always be about helping people.
UNCG is a very informed and active university, and I've witnessed Black Lives Matter as well as the DACA march this past Friday. And I saw you following the students as they were protesting, and it looked like they were having fun. From what I could see, I didn't see any aggression. I saw people who seemed to be more so inspired. Can you tell me how you helped promote that countenance within the students?
Yeah, one of the things that we do when we get information that students are interested in having an event like that, whether it's a candlelight vigil, a march, or a gathering, we try to work with them to ensure that we support them and give them the resource they need. Even if they intend to, like in this case, take a route around the campus, our presence was really there to keep the traffic off of the crowd and to make sure that those that were participating were safe. We reached out to the leadership of the organizations, and we do this in all the events. We reach out to the leadership and we try to figure out how can we help and what can we do to help make it a successful event. And I think that that effort goes a long way to try and help facilitate the safety and security of all those that are participating. And that's sort of the approach that we take when the students decide that they want to have this type of event, as we're there to support and help. There is no opposition from the police department.
And I've also noticed that you said that you are in contact with those who are heading up the organization. So you're listening to what these students are needing in order to have a successful march. And that's also Paul Lederach's means to getting to the core of a challenge, is to listen to what the people are saying and listen to what is needed.
Yeah, we adopted a philosophy as part of our 21st century policing and sort of our fair and impartial policing training, was that we believe in 4 concepts of dealing with the public, and that's number 1, to listen, to take the time to hear what is being said, and then to explain. Many times people just want to be heard, but more importantly, they also want to understand. And so we take the time to listen, we take the time to explain, and then we ask for compliance. We really hope that the opportunity that they've had to express themselves and the chance to hear our reasons for the actions that we're taking, at some point we are going to require that compliance. It does come in the form of a request, but at the same time it's not optional when it's a violation of the law. And if you're not satisfied, and this is really good for the general public to know, that if you're not satisfied with the services that you're receiving from the police, you should complain. But that complaint does not need to happen at the time of the incident. That complaint needs to occur with the administration of the police department long after the incident has occurred, because you're not going to get a whole lot of progress if you're trying to complain to the person who you're having the issue with. And so those 4 simple steps, listen, explain, comply, then complain, will help resolve a tremendous amount of conflict if people use them when they interact with the police.
One of Paul Lederach's beliefs also aligns with the UNCG Police Department, and that is transformation of personal relationships facilitates the transformation of social systems, and systemic changes facilitate personal transformation. Key to both kinds of transformation are truth, justice, and mercy, as well as empowerment and independence. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think this is at the heart of what 21st century policing is trying to implement, and that is being a value-driven organization, which we are. And we believe that these values that we hold guide the direction in which our department operates, and that is integrity, fairness, accountability, compassion, and excellence. They are at the heart of everything we do.
Thank you, Paul. I think that's a good note for us to close on. You've been listening to Air International, flight number 103.1 FM, WUAG. This semester, our focus has been on transformative peace modalities and how our local, global, and international communities use transformative peace modalities. You've just heard Major Paul Lester, UNCG Chief of Police, and how his department transcends relative peace. Thank you for listening, and keep listening to WUAG 103.1 FM for more news, sports, and music.